What's up, y'all? Kluka's back with you. This time, we are going to do NBA playoffs. With the playoffs starting today, officially, we are going to do some NBA playoff predictions. And before we do that, talk about the play in a little bit. So, Tuesday night, you had the Lakers beating the Pelicans, which secured them into the 7th spot. Um, you also had the 76ers beat the Miami Heat to secure the 7th spot in the East. Sorry, Brandon, about Miami losing that one. But then last night, you had the Miami Heat destroy the Chicago Bulls to put themselves in the 8th spot in the East. And then you had the New Orleans Pelicans beat the Sacramento Kings last night to secure their 8th spot in the West. So, playoffs are set. So, in the East, you have 1 Celtics, 2 the New York Knicks, 3 the Milwaukee Bucks, 4 the Cleveland Cavaliers, 5 the Orlando Magic, 6 the Indiana Pacers, 7 the Philadelphia 76ers, and 8 the Miami Heat. In the West, you have the number 1 seed, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 2 the Denver Nuggets, 3 the Minnesota Timberwolves, 4 the Los Angeles Clippers, 5 the Dallas Mavericks, 6 the Phoenix Suns, 7 the Los Angeles Lakers, and 8 the New Orleans Pelicans. So let's dive right into it. We're going to go right into the East. So let's go 1 versus 8, Miami and Boston in Boston for game 1. Boston having home court advantage. I'm going Celtics in 4. Jimmy's not going to be healthy. We still got a couple weeks before Jimmy's probably going to be cleared. And by then, I'm not really sure if it's going to matter. I'm not sure if they're going to have if they're gonna put up a fight, definitely, because it's Miami in the playoffs. But I just don't know if they're gonna have enough firepower to get past Boston without Jimmy Butler. So going off of what I know right now, we're going Celtics in a sweep. Celtics in 4. The 4 seeded Cavs and the 5 seeded Orlando Magic. This could be a very interesting series. You've got, excuse me, the Cavs that have, you know, the last 3 years been there to the playoffs. Last year they got bounced early by the Knicks. And you have this young Orlando Magic team that don't have playoff experience. So I think this could be interesting. But I think with the Cavs getting bounced early last year, I think that kind of plays a role into a fire of wanting to play well this year. Also, you know, we don't know what the status of Donovan Mitchell is going to be this offseason. So maybe they, as a team, they want to prove, hey, Donovan, we want to keep you here. So I'm going to go Cavs in 6. I think Orlando, because of how good and how young they are, they're going to be able to do some things that Cleveland's not ready for. But I'm going to go Cavs in 6. Let's go 3 Milwaukee Bucks, 6 Indiana Pacers. I'm going shocker here. I'm going Pacers in 6. We don't know the status of Giannis Antetokounmpo just yet. He's hurt. He had a non-contact calf injury, which if anybody knows anything about that kind of stuff, that could potentially mean the Achilles. We saw it with Kevin Durant in the Golden State Toronto series a couple years ago, and it started off as a calf injury. They pushed him to come back, and it ends up being in his Achilles. Does Giannis take that same risk? That's the question mark. I don't know how healthy Giannis is. Even with Giannis this year, the Pacers were able to pretty much handle the Bucks most of the year. So I'm going to go Pacers in 6 over the Milwaukee Bucks. And then we have the 2-seeded New York Knicks versus the 7-seeded Philadelphia 76ers. And again, I'm going upset. I'm going 76ers in 6. Excuse me. After Jalen Brunson with this team, I just don't know. Yes, they have a collection of guys that can put the ball in the bucket. I'm not going to argue that, but it's just in the playoffs, you need somebody that's consistently going to do that. And when you don't know who that guy consistently night in, night out is, I like the fact that I'm going to have for Philly a semi-healthy Joel Embiid, still trying to get conditioning back. I get Tyrese Maxey. I have Tobias Harris. I've got guys that I know, Kelly Oubre. I got guys that I know what are going to do after Joel Embiid. I just don't know what's going to happen after Jalen Brunson. And I really like this Knicks team, but I'm going 76ers in 6. So staying in the East, we have Celtics and Cavs next round. And I'm going Celtics in 5. Celtics are just too much, unfortunately, to deal with for my Cavs. 6-seeded Pacers, 7-seeded 76ers. I think this will be entertaining. It'll be a fun matchup. They'll push Philly, but I got Philly winning in 6 games over the Indiana Pacers. I think by now Joel Embiid starts to get his legs up under him. Excuse me. And I think we get old school Joel Embiid at that point. And then 76ers and Celtics in the conference finals. And much like every other time the Celtics have the 76ers number, I think they will give them a good run. But I got Celtics in 6. So that would mean I have the Boston Celtics representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. So going out west, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Here's my thing. We don't necessarily know the full extent of Zion Williamson's injury. As I talk, I'm going to try to look that up. So it was a hamstring. It wasn't the same as Giannis per se. He did kind of get hit, but it's just if Zion's able to come back and play, I'm not going to sit here and say the Pelicans. Let's start with this: the Pelicans aren't beating the Oklahoma City Thunder, but if he's able to come back and play, this could be an interesting series. And of course, there's really no injury update with him. Excuse me. He got evaluated on Wednesday, but we haven't heard much since. So evaluated on Wednesday. So I'm going to go off the assumption, kind of like I am with Jimmy and Joel right now, or Jimmy and Giannis, sorry, that Zion's not fully healthy. They're probably going to be without him for most of the series. So I'm going to go Thunder in 5. If Zion does play, I would say maybe it goes one extra game and it goes Thunder in 6. But I'm going to go Thunder in 5. Clippers, Mavs, the 4-5 matchup in the West. I'm going Mavericks in 7. Listen, Kawhi's missed the last couple games of the regular season for an unknown reason, not injured. So that's a big question mark. And this Clippers team that went from really bad when they got the James Harden trade. Then they went really good where we all, including myself, were kind of just like, wow, this team looks really good. And this team looks like they could finally compete for a championship. To then at the end of the year, right before the playoffs, not really where you want to be doing this at, where we go, okay, we have way too many question marks now. And so I'm going Dallas in 7, I think, for one. And the other thing is, I don't know what it is. Ever since the bubble, Luka is headed out for the Los Angeles Clippers. So I think in this Mavericks team, the last couple of weeks of the season, we're one of the highest rated defensive teams in the league. So they actually had started to figure it out defensively as well. And I've got Luka and Kyrie. You've got to try to figure out alongside PJ Washington. Like they've got shooters everywhere. You can't leave. I think it's going to be too much. Dallas wins in 7 games. It's going to be a great series, but it's 7 games Dallas. 3-seeded Timberwolves, 6-seeded Suns. This is kind of like the Magic and Cavs series in terms of I've got experienced playoff team in the Phoenix Suns and a non-experienced playoff team in the Timberwolves, really. Anthony Edwards is still young. Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley have had their fair share of the playoffs. But as far as a team, and I like the Suns in 6. I think in a series like this, in a first round series, I've got Kevin Durant, I've got Devin Booker, I've got Bradley Beal, who are finally all healthy and playing together. I think I like my chances of betting my money on KD and Devin Booker to figure it out for a round. So I'm gonna go Suns in 6 over the Timberwolves, and then we have Nuggets Lakers. What seems to probably be the best rivalry in the NBA right now. And this was tough because y'all know me being the LeBron guy that I am. I really want to just pick the Lakers, but I'm gonna make this pick. Excuse me, thinking or go with the intentions of I hope I'm wrong. And I'm going Nuggets in 7. I do think this is going to be a great series. I do think the Lakers this year match up better with the Nuggets than they did last year. What it's going to come down to is D'Angelo Russell is going to have to show up. He can't just average 3 points a game in this series like he did last year. So I think if D'Angelo Russell can show up, and where the Lakers could really take advantage is Jamal Murray's coming back off injury, and he's not 100% for this series. So if you could take advantage early and, have D'Angelo Russell especially be able to, outplay Jamal Murray because of his injury in these first couple of games before he gets his legs under him, that could be key to the series. So it's going to be it's going to come down to D'Angelo Russell's got to step up. Anthony Davis has got to step up, and then the role players have to step up. You can't just have Rui can't just fall into obscurity. These other guys just can't fall in. They can't just fall into watching and like, oh, LeBron and AD got it. Can't do that. Excuse me. All right, but I'm going Nuggets in 7. I'm gonna play it safe. So we have Thunder, Mavs in the second round, and I'm going Mavs in 6. I'm going with the experience. I think the Mavericks after the Clippers series is gonna find a rhythm, find a groove. I think the Thunder team, I think they're a year away from truly being dominant in the West. And I'm going Mavericks. I think Luka's just going to have a great postseason. I think Kyrie's going to have a great postseason. And it's going to be enough to push them into the conference finals. Nuggets Suns, round 2, going Nuggets in 6. It is a lot of firepower with Phoenix and Bradley Beal, Booker, and KD, but it's not enough to beat the Nuggets. And then Nuggets and Mavs in the conference finals, and we get the Jokic and Luka matchup. It's a fun, entertaining matchup, and I think Nuggets win in 6. I think Mavericks' luck starts to run out. It's a little too much, so Nuggets win. And then in the NBA Finals, we have the Celtics representing the East, the Nuggets representing the West, and I'm putting my money on the Nuggets to repeat. I think it's a great series. I think it goes 7 games, but I think Nikola Jokic just becomes too much for the Celtics to handle, and I'm going Nuggets over Celtics in 7. So there you have it. There's my NBA playoff prediction. Stay tuned. We'll have more NFL draft content coming up. The NFL draft coming up this week. Have a couple mocks, have more player rankings. And with that being said, we are signing off.